With Ismael Kone's move falling through on deadline day to play for Sheffield United in one of the best leagues in world football in the English Championship, this has brought huge attention to one of Canada's most exciting and bright talents, and of course our midfield star in Ismael Kone, who is much deserved of a massive move with his brilliant stint in his first year of football with Montreal Impact, and this is deserved of a huge move to Europe, just like this one to Sheffield United, and this will more than likely be coming off in January, which manager Paul Heckingbottom did talk about, which I will address in just a couple of minutes. But the real question we have to be asking ourselves here is, what really did go on and happen on deadline day for Ismael Kone's transfer to randomly kickstart to Sheffield United and then all of a sudden sadly not happen? So many questions, so many fun talking points that I'm going to be breaking down in this video for you guys. But first of all, I really got to break it down with you guys here because with everything going on around Ismael Kone and everything around the Canada, and this of course being my true love and passion for football around Canada soccer, it has pushed me to finally start my new YouTube channel, of course called On the Rise. This is where I will be breaking down everything to do with Canadian men's national team, of course players abroad, dual nationals, talented youngsters, and everything in the MLS. And of course all the predictions, rankings, fixture talking points, and everything much more to do with it. I'm really excited to build an amazing Canadian footballing community here, guys, and even breach it out even further. But guys, if you haven't already, please hit that sub button and drop a like and comment down below on what you guys think of this Ismael Kone transfer saga. But we're going to jump straight into things and talk about what really happened with Ismael Kone going to Sheffield United on deadline day, because this was such an interesting move that really kickstarted on the last day of the window. As we saw, it was very much rumored that we were going to see Sander Berge leave from Sheffield United, of course the star defensive midfielder for Sheffield United, and it was looking like he was going to leave the Club Brugge, but then he did not go, and he was touted as a replacement. He was touted as playing alongside him, playing with him as the replacement. There were so many rumors going around about Ismael Kone, and this really did kick around on deadline day. So what did happen? Well, of course, we had initial rumors coming from Sheffield United Daily talking about how he's going to be the replacement for Sander Berge, as Sander Berge was probably going to leave to Club Brugge. And of course, we saw that Berge did not leave to Club Brugge with Yaremchuk going to Bruges. They just didn't have the money and the facilities to bring in Berge. But you look at Ismael Kone and that whole transfer, it did kick up right on deadline day. And that was just down to the fact that Sheffield United really do like what Ismael Kone brings. And you even had Fabrizio Romano tweeting about midday and a couple times during the day about the young Canadian midfielder and our beautiful, bright talent. And he did come out saying Sheffield United are closing in on a deal to sign Canadian midfielder Ismael Kone on a permanent deal for £4.5 million, which could reach to £5 million including bonuses. And this deal would have made Ismael Kone's transfer the fifth highest transfer for a Canadian player ever. And this would have been absolutely brilliant, and this would have been a fantastic transfer. But it did fall through due to the Sander Berge deal, and it did fall through because they just weren't able to get it through, and they didn't want to rush it through. And really, this might not be the worst case scenario, because you look at what Ismael Kone is currently doing in the world of football right now. He is playing for a very good CF Montreal side right now that are one of the best teams in the MLS and have a very good shot at winning it all this year. And he could have a very good playoff push, and he right now, for me, he definitely deserves to be called up in this next window for the Canadian men's national team. And he really deserves a chance to play in this team to show what he's got, and he has been absolutely brilliant for CF Montreal, and I think he needs that chance for the Canadian men's national team as well. But nonetheless, I think he should easily be getting into this friendly side for the next coming up matches against Uruguay and of course Qatar. But another big thing is we also got to look at the World Cup. Ismael Kone should be going to the World Cup, especially with these extra places announced that we're going to have 4 spots going to the World Cup. And Kone has to be coming. I don't care if he's a depth midfielder, if he gets in a rotation. I think he has shown his quality, and I think he is such a bright player. And it really shows when you have English Championship sides like Sheffield United, Norwich looking at you. And I think he really has to be getting called up. And then you go and you look at what really would happen right now if he goes to the World Cup and gets a September call up, and he does absolutely brilliantly in a playoff push with Montreal. And it could really boost his value. It could boost what happens with his transfer in January. And of course, that is the next question I really have to answer in this video is, will Ismael Kone go and sign in January when the World Cup's over? probably going to the World Cup. I would really hope he does go to this World Cup. Does he move in January? Of course, with the MLS season running down, a very good playoff push, I think Ismael Kone does move in January, and that is due to some words that manager Paul Heckingbottom from Sheffield United came out saying. And he is a very good manager, Paul Heckingbottom, been around the English clubs, of course, Leeds United. He's been at some very good clubs. And of course, having a manager talk about you this thoroughly is massive, which I will dive into just in a second. But Paul Heckingbottom basically came through as saying it's a doable transfer and he will more than likely come in January. It's a guy who they're having on their list and they really want to sign. And the fact they pushed so hard for him on deadline day really shows that they really want Ismael Kone, and he's a guy for the future for them. And he'd already probably suit into that lineup right now. And it's just a huge, huge boost for Canada. Of course, getting a guy like Ismael Kone on a championship side who's more than likely going to be in the Premier League next year if he signs with Sheffield. I don't think he'd be really getting loaned out. Because if Paul Heckingbottom wants him that bad, there is definitely a reason for it. And you also look at this transfer in a different sense of Ismael Kone to also be teaming up with dual national Daniel Jebison, and hopefully could convince him as well. We'd have two players convincing dual nationals with Milan Bojan convincing Stefan Mitrovic, and now we'd have Ismael Kone out there convincing Daniel Jebison. It'd be a great scenario. But shifting on from will he sign in January swiftly into the managerial thoughts. Paul Heckingbottom had a couple quotes that I really wanted to talk about during this video, guys. He came out saying he fit the profile of players with potential and with attributes which could go to another level. We can improve. We were up front with the MLS plus Montreal. He'd have to be one who stays in the mind for the January window. The fact that he had to come out there and say he has to be one that stays in the mind for January window shows that Paul Heckingbottom really wants him, shows that he's in the back of Paul Heckingbottom's mind constantly, shows that they're really scouting him and keeping a close eye on Ismael Kone, and that is a massive thing for Canada and of course Ismael Kone, and will be a huge boost for CF Montreal. Fortunately, they could be losing a lot of players in Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, Ismael Kone, and of course Mihailovic. But no matter what, this is a great move for all parties, especially if they delay it till January. CF Montreal gets him for the playoff push. He's probably going to work himself more playing time, and he'll earn himself that move to Sheffield as well. Paul Heckingbottom also came out saying in that quote in that press conference after transfer deadline, saying it was a doable transfer, someone who fits the profile, but I stress this, anyone we spoke to were not seen as replacement for Sander, as we're not going to replace UCL players for a couple million of pounds. So it's not really a hurt out to Kone saying we're not going to replace him with a couple £1 million player. It is just really a huge boost that Kone is getting talked about like that from Paul Heckingbottom. He's saying it was a doable transfer. And the huge thing that also goes for me in that first quote that he said, he is a player with a lot of potential, but also with attributes that can go to another level and also can be coached and improved. That is huge to be saying that from a manager like Paul Heckingbottom and a team that is probably getting promoted in the Premier League next season. Not saying they're going to stay there, but this is a team that is going to be in the Premier League next year, a team that wants to sign Kone and can see that he has a future and who can go to another level. And this is a midfielder who can play at the 6, a defensive midfielder at a holding. He can play a box-to-box, attacking midfielder on the wing. Kone is very versatile, and we got to remember, he's only in his first season as a professional. And the fact that he's drawing this much attention is absolutely brilliant. And it is very exciting for a young player like Ismael Kone. And you just got to look at those rumors we had earlier in the window with Norwich and Sheffield United now. By far the better move would be for him to go to Sheffield United, and I am very excited for it. But guys, Ismael Kone is more than likely going to be signing with Sheffield United come January time. Of course, Paul Heckingbottom says it himself. It looks like a very doable transfer that will probably go through and is in the back of his mind. It's not a bad thing that this didn't go through before deadline day. It was very rushed, but he does earn himself a very good transfer more than likely in January and should be in this World Cup squad to booster his transfer value. Guys, let me know what you guys think of the new channel on the rise based around Canadian men's national team football and the Canadian footballing pyramid in general. Let me know what you guys think down below about Ismael Kone, Sheffield United, and your guys' general thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Drop them down in the comments. Hit that sub button, drop a like, and let me know what you guys think of the new channel. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.